how would you describe your relationship with risk?
God, that's interesting. So my job is about helping people to manage risk as speakers, right? Because people find public speaking worse than death, so they say. And my job is helping people to speak in public, right? So I spend a lot of time thinking about risk. I've taken some risks in my life. First thing I would say is I would never do a bungee jump. So there is certain risk around heights and small spaces. I watched Traitors and I was like, you will not bury me in a coffin. All of that stuff is not my thing. But spoken risk, audience risk, putting yourself out there, that I'm quite curious about and I'm quite interested in. So I think I have an enjoyment of certain kinds of risk. And I love that moment where you step in front of an audience and there's a sense of anything could happen now. That I love. And that's really the moment that I kind of get up for. Like if I'm nervous about it, no, not too dramatic, but like the days before I'm a bit like, oh, why did I agree to that? And oh God, and what am I going to say? And they're not going to like it. And I just catch that. That's my fight or flight brain saying this is a risk, don't do it. But I know to override that.
Interesting, because before I do any podcast, there's a very weird emotional thing that happens, and it's almost like I prepare for worst case scenario, but it means that I tend to come into the situation having to sort of not fake, but that's in the back of my mind and I'm having to push past it and no, it's going to be great. But my brain has told me a different story for the preceding 24 hours, maybe.
Yeah, I really relate to that. I think it's like fight or flight is a really good survival mechanism as long as it's, as they would say in corporate life, your due diligence. You know, it's saying, worry about this, think about that, check that. Have you asked those questions? Have you run it through? You know, all of that stuff is really, really good advice from your panic brain. But then you just have to go now back in your box and let the thing be fun. But I do think all of us need to kind of just enjoy that moment of checking and being aware of what could go wrong, because actually that's what makes you good.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's that risk really is where you've weighed up that there might be something to lose and whether you are prepared to lose it.
And that's the good stuff in life, isn't it? If there's no risk, honestly, life is too short not to take risks. Because risks are the moment where you step up in front of that big audience, or the podcast that you do where you're a bit nervous of that person you're interviewing. I'm definitely not that person, but you have done those interviews. You know, it's like those moments are the moments that really elevate us in life. And if we don't embrace them, then life is really small.